Hey everyone, it's Rita from Miss Rita to the Rescue. I'm sorry that my dog barks. I got some feedback earlier in the week from someone on YouTube saying that they thought it was discourteous of me to have my dog barking in the background. So I do apologize for that if it's jarring or something. But this is my home and these guys are my family, so I'm sorry, but that's just, they're excited to hear my voice greeting you. They respond to the hi, the greeting. So good morning, and good morning from my dogs too. So let's see, today on Cricut Chat, good morning Aledra, Laurie, Joe, Tara, Bran, and David. Good morning. Yeah, Shelly, yeah. And I understand if you have a dog and, like, let's say you're watching TV and this commercial keeps coming on and like there's a doorbell ring on a commercial or something. But this is just like a video and I don't know, and they don't bark the whole time. But anyway, I don't want to lament about it, but they really are just glad to hear you or know that I am on, because they're very friendly dogs. And I apologize though if it's jarring to you. But okay, so today I posted a video last night. I don't know if everybody saw it, but today we're going to do an upcycle. Yeah, right. Hi, Susan. Hi, Deborah. Someone saying they think every time I talk, or every time she talks, the dogs think they're talking to you. It's the same way on the phone with me. My dogs think I'm always talking to them. So, yeah, right. And so she said she was unsubscribing, and so I said, hey, do what you have to do. It's not a prerequisite, and it's not as if she's paying for the service or anything. So I said goodbye. Anyway, so today we're going to be working on these. I don't know if anybody, I'm going to move down here a little bit. I don't know if anybody has these. It sounds like people do. So, I buy these candles and I think they make great gifts, although people make fun of candles as gift, but I think they're awesome. And they usually have them on sale, like right around now. And so starting in September, I will have a candle going in my kitchen or something for, all the way through Christmas and sometimes into January, because it's so much stale air when you start closing all the windows, and dogs and animals, and they just create smells. So I buy these candles and they last a really good long time. But when they come to the bottom, I usually buy them like this, right, in a jar. I have a whole bunch of them. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one, David. So I did inquire, because I'm part of the green group here in Peabody, Green Peabody, and I did inquire about, can these be recycled? Because I like to recycle everything. And they told me, no, it's the wrong kind of glass, that pickle jars and things like that come in glasses, a glass form is a different kind of glass. So I ended up just saving them and not knowing what to do with them. And I put them in my windowsill. And there's been a couple here, like this one here is from 2000 and look at that, 16. I haven't used it. So the covers sometimes can be really pretty. Like look at that turkey. And there's this really pretty one with a leaf. And then there's this one here with the pumpkin. And there was one with a snowflake. And I'm sure they're all around my house. But I thought, this is a perfect time to do something with these candle holders. And first off, I want to talk about what's left inside the candle and how to get stuff out of the candle. These ones here that I buy are from Bath and Body Works, but I was in Michael's, I think it was yesterday. And No, I was in Target yesterday and they had a bunch of these, very similar. Some of them were colored, some of them were not. And I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know if they're soy candles. I think the Bath and Body Works ones are soy, but they burn. They usually have 3 wicks, right? And they burn down until you get to like here, and then they just kind of stop burning. And so there's leftover candle wax in the bottom, and then also on the bottom inside, which you can see I scrubbed here, there's usually, the wicks are usually glued in with some hard, like a hot glue. So here's what I do when you get them, when they get to that point. I will put them in my freezer. So, as I finish one, I put it in the freezer, kind of forget about it. And the next day, or when it's completely hardened, I take it out and leave it on the counter for like maybe 5 minutes. And then I just take a knife, like a butter knife, and I just kind of chop into the bottom, and it pops right out. And there's no residue. And all that's left are those little wick, the bottoms of the wick. Right? So then that's when I use like a spoon, and I just sort of pop them out. And because it's cold, it comes right out. Now don't save the wick holders, because they're not useful again. But save that candle wax, because I have another craft that I want to show you that involves that candle wax, because like I said, I'm super frugal. So anything I have, I do not want to throw away. So I want to find different uses for it. And I have a great craft, especially if you have cats or dogs that shed. But even if you don't, if you have a dryer in your home, you can do this craft it's a fire starter, and it's so cute. And I've used that for years and used the candle wax. So I'm not like, I'm taking the lint or the cat or dog hair from the lint brush and reusing it as a fire starter. So stay tuned for that one. I'll do that later on in the year. But okay, so once you get this cleaned, and then obviously once you get the candle wax out, then you have to worry about, there's usually a sticker on the bottom and a sticker on the side. And what I normally do is I throw this in my dishwasher, and when it's done, I don't dry in my dishwasher, but when it's done, you can practically just peel these off. And if they don't peel off, a little bit of that stuff called Goo Gone takes it away. So it's so easy. Yeah, right. So save that hair. I know I sound crazy right now, but my corgis, I have 2 corgis. I've always had corgis, and they shed like crazy. And I would pick it up with the Swiffer and stuff like that. And I'd be like, this is crazy. What am I supposed to do with all this hair? And somebody told me, brush them outside and the hair will go and fly, and the birds will take it and line their nests with it. But what about the stuff that's inside? So I started saving them in Ziploc bags, and when they get really, really big, I'll do this. Vacuum up all the, yes. Yeah, right. So I just save them. And then when I get a lot, or when it turns to fall and I want to have a fire in my fireplace, I make this craft. So, but today we're going to work on this glass candle. Now, some of these candles come colored. So this one is yellow, and this one is red. I even found a black one. It must have been a Halloween one, but more typically, you get them and they're clear. And so I went on the hunt for a number of, images, and I came up with 3 from our friends Rob and Bob that I really liked, and so I cut them out on the vinyl. But here's the thing that was kind of difficult. If you measure around, and this is how you measure a round piece, by the way. So take a piece of twine and put it and measure it around like this. This is an old seamstress tip, right? But here is our twine, and then I just measure it here on my handy dandy self-healing mat. It comes up to be 12.5 inches. Yours might be slightly different if they come from a different manufacturer, but 12.5 inches is just a scotch bigger than what you can cut on your Maker or your Explore. Now, if you have a Joy, that's not a problem. You'd use a smart material and that would not be a problem. So this is a perfect tool for using the Joy. But I have a workaround that I want to show you too if you're working from an Explorer or a Maker. And then I also want to show you, this mostly I've been doing in vinyl, but if you wanted to do it in paper, you could. Now, I do not recommend that you re-pour candles in here or that you use candles in here. I usually use LED lights, and I buy them like by the bag full at the craft store. Those are those little tea lights or whatever. They're so much safer. But you know, you do you if you want to do it in a regular candle, but I just wouldn't really recommend it. And so then I started thinking about, okay, we could do this in two ways. We can do it paper, and I'm going to show you something. This is why I have the screen up here. I'm going to show you how to color your vellum. Let me just go back to my my images. Okay, so I went online and I went in the image search and I found these really awesome, see these really awesome like wrap. I call them wraps. I think it could be a good candle wrap. But my my candles only measure 3 inches before the top hits it. So if I want to keep the top, it's only 3 inches, right? And, oh yeah, you could also do on the long mat, but you'd still, well, yeah, you could do on the long mat, David. Thank you for okay, so if you have an Explorer and or a Maker and you want to make a bigger than the 12.5 inches, you could do it on the long mat. But let me tell you what the problem is with that. When I stretched these out, because that's what these look kind of stretched out. This one, not so much, but these look a little stretched out from the original. Let me show you where I got these images and image sets. And what are you walking off with, dog? Come here. No. Hold on a second. No, you may not have the infusible ink. Dog walking off with a box of infusible ink. Okay, so images, image sets, and we're going to look for Rob and Bob. And we're going to go to Rob and Bob, the best of. Yep. Walked away, just kind of came over, and it was within his, because, you know, corgis are short, they're like, what, 12 inches, and he just saw it at his level and decided to walk off with his prize. Okay, so the best of Rob and Bob is the cartridge or the image set that we want to do. And remember, if you do go here and you do like the Halloween one, it's not part of, you'd have to pay for it, and it's $40. So you might get a discount if you're an Access member. But I just like to go to this one here called The Best of Rob and Bob, and scroll down and you will find this one, and where is it? This one. Let me pull that in. So these look a lot different than what I did, which is stretch them out, okay? And I think that it's okay to stretch them out, but I was thinking, you know, the reason why I stretched them out is because I wanted them to be long, but I didn't want them to be too tall. And when you start stretching them out, like if you did it by 11.5 inches, you'll notice, let me just change the width here. So I want a longer width. It creates a height of 5.2 6 inches. Well, that's not going to work on my candle because my candle is only 3 inches high. So then what I started doing was, well, okay, why don't I just stretch it out? But stretching it out longer than it is longer than it is tall, creates sort of a squished look, right? Because when we change one of the parameters, whether it's width or height, but if we change one and our lock is on locked, see here, it always comes locked, but when we change the height or the width, whichever the other parameter is, it's proportionate. That's what I'm trying to say. So by stretching it out with that locked image on there locked, it's going to stretch it out both ways. So if you want, you could do what I did, which was I unlocked it and then I changed over here. I changed the height to 11.5 and then it didn't, and I changed the width I changed the width 11.5. The height I changed to 3, but that's why it's shorter like this. That's why it's kind of important to stay within the parameters. So then I started thinking, how can I do this? And this has a box around it. So I'm kind of stuck because they're 12.5 inches, right? So then I thought, well, why don't I cut this double and treat each side of the candle as one side, because really you're only going to see one side pretty much unless you have it someplace where you can go all around the candle, right? So if I do it half, and half of the 12.5 is 6.25, right? So if I make these 6.25 inches wide, it comes in with the height still a little bit more than what I want. And this is okay because I can just either make it 6 and my height is 3.064, just slightly above, or I can even go even slightly smaller in the width, like 6, and it will reach that 3 inches high. Okay, without distorting the image. So see that? And then what I would do is duplicate it. You do. Serena's saying she likes it stretched. So I cut it out already on stretched, and I want to show you. Oh, that's a great card. So I cut them out on stretch, but then I was thinking, you could cut these out at 6 and then basically put one here and then one here. Now, what are you going to put? You can do a couple of things. You can use vinyl, of course, and that's great. And if you're using, for instance, if you're using this colored thing, I could use black vinyl on this, and I'm going to show you how to apply it there, okay? But if you're using a clear one, you may want to have a background. So these have backgrounds, okay? And that background, usually what I would do, if I'm going to put this on a candle, is I want it to be sort of semi-opaque. Like, I want it to look kind of creepy, and you don't want to be able to see through it. You don't want it clear. So what I normally would do is put vellum in the back. But vellum, if you've never worked with vellum, and here I'll show you what vellum is. This is vellum. Hold on. So it is a kind of a very soft, very satiny feel. And it usually comes in 8.5 by 11. You might have it in 12 by 12, but it's hard to come by. And even at Michael's, this is kind of expensive. I think you can buy like 5 or 10 for like $5. So it makes it expensive. It's 8.5 by 11. But generally speaking, it's hard to find in a color, but a lot of, yes, you could use window cling. Absolutely could use window cling Aledra. So for the design, but for behind it, I would like to use maybe vellum on the clear jars. Okay. So, where do you find that orange colored vellum? You know, it's so hard to find, and you could search and search and search on like Amazon, and you'd pay a lot of money, and you have to make sure that you're getting the size you want. But why not just take vellum that you might already have and run it through your printer and color it, which is a really fun technique. And I want to show you where you get the colors. And that is why I had my browser open. So the folks over at Dreaming Tree, leave it to them for coming up with this innovation. The folks over at Dreaming Tree have, let's go back to their, they have created this PDF file that has all of these colors, and really it's just a plain colored PDF. And I'm going to show you how to find them. So if you're on this website, which is 3D SVG, Dreaming Tree, their website is 3dsvg.com. And if you type in vellum, you will get 2, and they're free, 2 vellum color packs. They're PDFs and they're free. So if you haven't gotten these, just throw them in your cart and check out. It's free, so you don't have to pay anything. You just have to log in, and then you would place your order. And once you placed your order, it would bring you to the complete screen. And then at the complete screen, you would be prompted to download the PDF. So here we are, and I'm going to download these PDFs. Now, this might be slightly different. The next step might be slightly different than what your experience will be. But for the most part, when you do downloads, they come to a file and they're unzipped. Sometimes they come zipped. These are already unzipped, and most, I don't want to say modern, but most up-to-date computers will unzip them for you. I have a Mac. It does it for me automatically, but if there might be one extra step that you have to unzip it using a zipping tool. But what you'll find when you do find the file, and this is a PDF file, so it cannot be brought into Cricut Design Space because it can't handle PDFs, but that's fine. Here is one called the Spring Vellum, and here's the other one is called Printable Vellum Colors. So you just have to locate it, and then you click on that PDF, and what will open up is just a big old blank screen. That is a color, whether it's pumpkin or yellow or green or whatever. This particular pack is all Halloween-y colors, but I've actually used the color before in something else. So what you need to do is take your vellum and put it into your printer. I have a printer right here. It's just like a cheapy HP printer that I've had for a long time. And then you would go here up to File, or wherever it is on your particular thing, and you would print this orange color onto your vellum. So it has also has this around it, which you can either do, or you can, you don't need to put that around there, but that's the way mine comes up, okay? So now I'm printing to this piece of vellum, and what it's going to come out, it's going to be a little wet when it comes out, but it's going to be fully saturated with the color. The only unfortunate thing about this is that the vellum does, because it has to go through the printer, and the vellum is very delicate. It will curl a little bit. So what I do is after it's dried, because my machine, it comes out a little bit wet and can smear. So don't touch it right away. But here you go. Let me close this window. Okay, so here's my vellum in orange, and you see it has a white border all around it, but it's a little bit wet, so I don't want to touch it. But let me hold it up to the screen so you can see. But it's orange. So you can turn your basic vellum, which is, I don't know what they call it, white or transparent or whatever, into any color you can imagine by doing this technique, and it makes it makes doing projects like the ones from Dreaming Tree a whole lot easier because they have different colors that you can color your vellum. And I'm looking around for, hold on just a sec. Okay, so here is a Dreaming Tree file that I did. And look, I colored the green and I colored the flowers. This is a daffodil, so this is for spring, obviously. But a lot of times when you see on their files, you'll see you'll need green vellum, you need yellow vellum, or for the Halloween files, you need orange vellum or purple or lime green. And who can find that stuff? And, you know, I tried a bunch of different stuff, including trying to ink the vellum and everything, which you can do, but it's super time consuming. Best to just use this technique, okay, and create something. Now, in this particular case, this could, by the way, go into your machine now. For this particular file that we were looking at, let's go back to it. So let me ungroup it. It's just a straight cut, which you could cut from your machine for sure. And you would just use the setting for vellum, okay? And if we wanted to cut this, which we can do, let me just sort of shade all these other things out. We'll cut these, and so you can see what I mean. It does have to have its own setting. All right, here we go. I'm almost done. Hold on, where are we? Okay. All right, so if I went to go cut this, and I want to cut two, because I'm thinking in terms of my candle going around it, right? Oh, Modge Podge might work. I would, Serena. Yes. Okay. All right. So let's back up here. Serena's saying, do you suggest printing the whole page orange, or could you print it for 3 inches of your project? To be really honest, I would print the entire page, and whether you use it all or not, you can save it for another project, and there are plenty of their projects that have vellum. Now, I bought my vellum, the cheapest place I found it, and I'm going to have to post a link, but this is called Jam Paper is the name of the company. It's translucent vellum. Be very careful when you're looking for vellum, because it speaks mostly of the quality of how it feels. You have to look for translucent vellum. Otherwise, you're going to get just paper that has a different feel, okay? So it's translucent vellum, and it's 100... is it 100? It's 17. I'm sorry, 17 pounds. Okay. Now this is in 8.5 by 11. I bought 100 sheets. I bought this over a year ago. I use vellum all the time. Look at all that I have left. So my suggestion would be to do the entire page, and you'll find a use for that. And then you can put it in the machine. Okay. Someone's saying maybe you could do tissue paper on the inside. That's also a possibility. Again, watch for your LED. And Susan has the very important tip of using a sticky mat when cutting vellum. Has to be super sticky because it lifts very easily from your mat. Or you can cut it by hand using your hand cutting tools. Modge Podge. Well, it depends, Deborah. Deborah's saying, isn't that expensive to use that much ink? I mean, if you were going to make hundreds of these, yeah, maybe. But to be honest, I have that instant ink from HP, and they charge me by the page and not by the ink. So, it's very possible that it uses too much ink if you're doing the ink cartridges. But when you're stuck with, you don't know how to get that purple vellum or pink. You just did it, Babs? All right. So yeah, and so vellum is, let me just hold it up here. So vellum is, it's a very interesting texture, but it's also translucent, and just by coloring it, it still keeps that translucent nature. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. See, it's 2 sheets. This one here, and I'm going to make it 2 because I want to use 2 for my my one candle. And here we go. Right? I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to take my mat. You can't see it right now. I'll show it to you in a second. And because it has that trim, that white trim around it, I'm either going to have to put it on my mat above the grid. You see that? It's like slightly above the grid. Or I could... let me choose vellum, vellum. Where is it? I'm going to have to go to browse all materials, and I can type in vellum. Did I type it in right? Yeah. So here's vellum. It's got its own setting. See? So I'm going to choose that. Boy, I'm dropsy today. Okay, so we're going to choose that, and we're going to cut it on our machine. And it's very hard to cut. Do not get frustrated with yourself because you have to go really slow. You have to have a really good mat, but and it's best to do something basic for a cutout, okay? But yeah, Echo Tank printers are good. Yeah, it would work. I think it would work. I had one. It's downstairs. I haven't used it. So, all right, I'm going to move you over. So I'm choosing vellum. Now I might have to do this twice, but I have it on a super sticky mat. I've pressed it down really good, and then I'm going to put it in, and you can kind of hear it lift a little bit, so you got to be really careful. Make sure it's really on that good, and let's hit go. What you want to be careful of is like when the carriage comes over, that it's not lifting from the mat. And it's one of those hold your breath a little bit kind of thing. But it seems to be doing fine. There we go. And then while we're, I'll do the other one, which is going to be in just regular paper. We're going to do the other one in regular paper. So here is our vellum. Isn't that beautiful? Now, normally I would save all this, but we're on live, so I'm not going to save it. Now, it does curl. That's okay. All right, we're going to use some ink. We're going to use some glue to keep it from curling. But if you want, you can kind of like put it under a sheet of like a stack of paper while you cut out your other piece, which in this case, it's the black part with the scary cats. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do this one. I'm going to put it on fast mode, and we'll go ahead and do this. So, all right. So let's go down here. All right. So here is my vellum, which we're cutting out the paper version. Now, if you didn't want to use paper, you could use vinyl. And as I suggested, you know, I hadn't thought about it, but you could stretch these out and have them be longer than, because around this circumference of this is 12.5 inches. You could do it either one of 2 ways. You could cut out doubles like I suggested here. And this one is a different graphic, but I'll show it to you anyway. So this one here is pumpkins that I cut out just using regular vinyl. I think we got this pumpkin vinyl somewhere because I probably would never have bought it. So I think it must have come in a mystery box or something. Let me just make sure you're on here. Okay. So I'm just going to weed this the way that it's cut out. Having a little trouble because my lighting is bad over here. but, yeah. Okay. So this is weeding. This I think I might use for the black one. I'm weeding with my fingers, sorry, but it's the only way that... All right, this is really a cute one. And I did this, these are 10 inches long, and I'll tell you why in a second. But I'm just weeding this, like this. Okay, I'm sorry to get out of the camera, but I can't see if I don't have it close to me. Okay, give me a sec. Okay, see, it's coming along. I don't know about you. I don't know if it's my eyes or whatever, but I have to have this stuff like right up to my face to see where the cuts are sometimes. And I know that there's a trick on weeding, either using it up against something light, but today the lighting is not great. I guess the storms are heading up this way. Okay, almost done. So you see this one here is actually a repeating pattern. Hold on. Okay, Teddy. But now I'm paranoid about Teddy Bear. Okay. Thanks, Susan. You're so encouraging, Susan. Okay, so here's one done in vinyl. It's 10 inches across. And then I did another one over here because it's a repeating pattern. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the black. Now, I don't know if you have a black one available. You don't have to do this particular one, or you can do it on a different color. But I thought, well, what am I going to do with that black one, right? So I thought this would be a good offering for that. So there it is weeded, and I know they bark. They see people. They have a great. They're short dogs, and I put in a storm door so they can see through. A lot of dogs don't have that, and and it makes it very tempting for them to bark at people going by. Okay, I know, I'm just paranoid. One person makes a comment, and that's all I think about. Okay, I'm opening up some transfer tape now, and they always have transfer tape around, which is good. Now, some people use different transfer tape, but to be honest, I use the Cricut stuff. It does take a little getting used to because it's very sticky. And one thing about transfer tape that is from Cricut is that there's strong grip and there's regular. This is regular, and it will say strong grip on it if you're looking for strong grip. The strong grip is for glitter or foil, anything that's really thick. The regular transfer tape is for everything else. And if, by the way, you get a glitter roll, you will, if you roll out, this is vinyl. If you buy a glitter roll of vinyl, if you roll it out, you'll find a sheet of sticky, extra sticky, strong grip transfer tape. So if you end up like having one in a mystery box, or you accidentally bought it or whatever, and you've tried regular transfer tape, go back to the roll and unroll it, and it's right in there on the inside, okay? So here's my transfer tape, and this is the way that I cut it. I cut it off in strips. I'm just going to use the side here. All right, I think I need, for this particular one, I just need like 2 or 3 inches. So I'm going to use my Cricut ruler, 2 or 3 inches, and my True Control knife. Yeah, so let me just repeat that about the strong grip tape, transfer tape. when you buy glitter, and happens so frequently, when you buy the Cricut glitter vinyl, a lot of people, when they first using it, they get very frustrated because they're using their regular transfer tape to transfer it on. But the folks at Cricut know that, or knew, or whatever, when they designed it, that it was going to require an extra strong grip. So they included in the roll of glitter iron-on, I could probably go and show you, but I don't have time for that right now. But they included a 12 by 12 piece inside the roll, but it's on the inside of the roll. So if you're not looking for it, you probably won't see it because you're probably not going to use the whole roll. Okay? So here's our pumpkin one. And now this one here is not quite, I think it's like 10 inches. I did it at 10 inches. So I was thinking I'd do 10 inches and maybe cut halfway and do 10, and like somehow do maybe 6 inches and 6 inches, because it's a repeating pattern, right? So this is 10 inches, but then I thought, okay, so I have this one here. Let's see how wide this is. So according to my thing, this is a 1, and it's probably a little over. That's not going to work because that's too short. So 3 inches here from the pumpkin to the pumpkin will work. Okay. So let me just finish weeding this. All right. It's been a really busy week for me. I hope you all are staying clear of that storm. If you're in like that area of Texas or Louisiana, that you evacuate. I mean, I saw on the news it said unsurvivable. I mean, what is that? I've never actually heard that, unsurvivable. Okay, so here is my vinyl. And again, I could do this pattern like this, then I could skip it and do that, like that would work. So let's see how it looks on the first one looks on the candle. So I'm going to use my transfer tape and I press it down. We did this yesterday. I'm going to be able to reuse this transfer tape, so no biggie. I'm going to flip it around, make sure that it's coming off, which I wanted to. Oop, there's something I didn't even weed. How do you like that? And it's coming off like this. Now, in this case, normally I tell you to keep it on the backing, but I'm not going to do that because we're working on a round surface. So here's our round surface. And there is a little bit of a curved edge on mine, so I'm going to put it above that, okay? And again, if you want to use window cling on this because you want to use it again, you could do that, but window cling will not stay. And for me, I thought, you know, I want to keep this maybe and just, you know, replace the LED lights. And I'm just doing, you know, about 1 inch at a time here. I'm trying to stay straight on it, but I could still lift it if it's not straight. You see that? I'm lifting it, and that's okay. It won't affect the vinyl. I might want to go a little bit higher. Here we go. Okay. I just want to get clear of that curved part. Okay. It's round, so it's a little hard, so just be patient with yourself, okay? Now see, I have it, it's on here. If it needs to be straightened out, which mine does, you can straighten it out. I'm not going to have the time to straighten it out, but I just want to show you the start to finish on how to do this. Then we're going to take the transfer tape and then we're going to peel back like this. You see how I'm doing it at an angle. So I'm peeling back like this. And if I have anything that lifts, like right here, just use your fingers, or if you need to, you can use your weeding tool to sort of lift them up and get them down on your surface. It is a rounded surface. This is sort of the same thing as when we're doing the ornaments, right? Is that, you know, it's rounded, and so you have to kind of play with it. It's not something that's flat that you're going to be able to just place something on and be done with it. No, you might have to play around with it, and that's okay. Just be patient with yourself and with the process, okay? Okay. Just wanna, let me just lift this a little bit because I don't like the way that pumpkin, whoops. Okay. Now, you could also, it's glass, so be careful. But, you know, if you get a little bubble, like here, it's a little bit of a bubble, you just want to use your nail to sort of push it out. So here's a bubble. You could also use something like our scraper, but I find that using your nails fine. And just kind of scrape that bubble out. If you have to, lift it a little bit and sort of push it back down like that. And there it is. Now, what I might do is I'm not going to do it today or on film, but what I might do is I'm just going to take, see how it doesn't end all the way, but I'm just going to cut out a clip of this and put it here. Okay. Now let's talk about the paper one, because this is the vinyl one, but the paper one we just finished. Remember, we had the vellum. So here's my paper one. And again, be very careful. Don't use a real candle. Use an LED or one of those battery operated candles, and always be around, you know, when you have it, don't leave it burning, that kind of thing. Okay, so this is very delicate, and I'm just peeling it. See, this is paper, okay? And I'm peeling it off this way. Like this. And you have to be very careful. And you could use your little spatula if you wanted to get this off. But I just want to show you how you would apply the vellum so that it stays and doesn't wrinkle on you. Okay, now I kind of rushed it and I ruined it a little bit, but you'll do better, okay? You'll do better. I just want to show you how to put the vellum on there, okay? So you take off your paper. And, you know, to be really honest, you could do this with vinyl on the top and vellum on the bottom. That would work. So pretend that this is beautiful and all cut out, okay? Then we're going to take the vellum and see how it's curling a little bit. That's just from being on the mat and going through the printer. And then we're going to use our trusty glue. And this is the glue that I use. You don't have to use it, but what you do need to do is make sure you don't use a lot, especially with vellum. Vellum gets really wrinkly really fast, okay? And we'll just dot the glue in all the little places. Not a lot of glue, just a little tiny bit, okay? And make sure you're getting like these little pieces that are sticking out. And again, I didn't do it perfectly. I apologize, but you'll do it. You'll be much more careful than I am being, okay? So then, oops, now my glue isn't even coming out. Come on out, glue. Okay, here we go. But we don't want a lot of glue because vellum gets really wrinkly. So then we take, yeah, you know what, Susan, we're going to have to talk about that sometime because I have a theory about that. But okay, so here's my vellum. I'm going to place the colored side because there is a difference, okay? But I'm going to put the colored side onto here, and I have to really, this is the back side of the paper, but I have to really push it down, okay? And make sure it sticks. The thing about vellum is that it can't lift. Now see, again, I kind of messed up here, but it's sort of, I put it on with a little bit of edge, but I'm not going to take it off because it's so delicate. So I'm just gonna make this with my True Control knife. I told you I use this thing every day. I do. All right. And then I would cut it here. And then I could take it and I would probably glue it on here. But I would glue it to here. I'm going to do the double-sided, right? And then when you put the light inside, which of course I don't have a light around here. I should have got it, sorry. But it will show through and it will glow a beautiful orange color. Isn't that cool? Spray adhesive would work too. I don't know if I'd use spray adhesive on this side because when you sprayed it, it would come through. It would come through and get your surface really messy. If you are going to use spray adhesive, definitely put paper down. And spray adhesive would work especially on this type of thing. And it would look really, really cool. Now, okay, Benji. So I wanted to show you, this doesn't have to just be for Halloween. There is also a number of wonderful fall things like this one here, so I can show you this. And I'm going to give you a file with all of these images, even though they're all free in Design Space. I think people sometimes have trouble finding them. So this one here, and I'm going to show you this technique separately, but I just kind of want to touch on it because I know people are going to say, well, I don't just want all Halloween things. Okay, so in this case, this one is Harvest Blessings. And I found that using an image search for Thanksgiving. There's actually a whole section for Thanksgiving images in there. And it's 2 pieces. I'm just clearing it up a little bit. Now, I think this would look, and I'm using that cranberry red. And honestly, I think this would look fabulous on this clear, but I want to put something on the inside here. And this is a very simple technique, and I use it to make fairy lights too. Remember when we made our glitter ornaments? So you probably have this stuff hanging around. It's not mayonnaise, but it's the clear polycrylic stuff. I want to make sure I can open it because it's very sticky, and some people use different stuff. The stuff I use is by Miniwax. It's called clear polycrylic. It's the same thing as working with the ornaments. You put a little bit in there and then you sort of move it around and get all. Now you could do it so you're just doing up the sides, or you can do the whole thing. It's up to you. You can get real fancy with this too. You could put tape on the inside, and so it would just cover part. The Miniwax will just cover part. So let me just make sure that it gets all the way around. I'll show you this again. You know, I wonder if you could use art glitter glue for this part. I haven't used it for that. So, okay. Let's say this is all covered. Then I take, where is it? Where did it go? Did my dogs walk off with it? Oh yeah. Where is it? Darn it. Oh, here it is. Okay, then I take this stuff, which is chunky glitter in a pearlescent. And obviously, you're going to be much more careful than I am, okay? But here's another technique you can use to make that clear glass sort of translucent, sort of, not all the way see-through, but not completely opaque. I'm just pouring this over my trash bin here. So I take this opaque stuff and I just go like this. Now, again, you could do it just like part up there. Or you can do it like this so it looks like snow, and you could do this for Christmas. Or in this case, I did it on all of the glass. And what's really beautiful about this particular glitter is when it comes through, it's a beautiful color in there. And again, you'll do it better. I just show you the techniques. Okay. So you have this. Let me put this aside. Sorry I'm making such a mess today. But then we would take, for instance, our Harvest Blessings. Or if you can find chunky glitter in like a yellow or orange, that would work too. For your Halloween ones. So let me just finish this. Finish weeding this Harvest Blessings. So you don't have to go all the way around the candle. This is what I'm trying to show you. You don't have to go all the way around the candle and wrap it completely. You're just going to, this stinks. You're just going to consider that you're decorating the inside, so you don't need to have that vellum either. And you can take this Harvest Blessings. Let me get this ass. And sorry I'm going a little long today, but I just love this craft. And then if you wanted to, you can separate those two words, but I'm not going to. And I'm using my transfer tape again, same transfer tape. Go flip it over. Make sure it's burnished. I actually got a piece of glitter on there. Get this out of the way. Okay. And then I'm going to line it up. This is still wet. You're going to wait for it to dry, but I'm in a hurry, or not in a hurry, but I'm on a time thing. And again, it's still wet, so it's hard to do this because it's wet. And I'll go over this again, like around Thanksgiving or Christmas time, with different kinds of glitter. But it creates the most beautiful effect. There you go. So you can do that. Now, I probably would have, I don't know what I would do. I think I like that. But I might look for some other kind, or you do this for Christmas. But there's another technique. So the techniques that I showed you today are, you can do just plain vinyl on there, whether you have a colored glass. You can do a wrap like this that has a vellum back. Or you can actually decorate the inside of the candle with glitter, making it so easy to put vinyl on the outside. Now, I know you guys, you're very creative and you're going to come up with ways to do this that I'm not showing, and I want to see all the stuff that you're doing because it's super important. I've seen some people post some things in the group that I'm like, wow, I would never have thought of that. So make sure you share if you try this out, and play around with the colors, like this red one. This red one. was going to be beautiful for Christmas. So I'm going to start thinking about that. And then I'll probably use this one with the black cutout vinyl that I have. So thank you all for being patient with me and sticking with me this morning. I hope you've learned something and you're going to try some of these really fun techniques. If you need, I'm going to put all of the materials in the description after the video is posted, so you'll know what I'm using and what I've used. There's a lot of stuff I used today. And let's see, I think that's it. Tomorrow we have another kind of upcycled craft from a piece of wood that I found left over from a project that was done at my house. So that's going to be a fun one. It's a long piece of wood. It's like a 2x4, and we're going to show you that tomorrow. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, if you're near Louisiana or Texas where the storm is going, please grab your Cricut, grab your loved ones and your dogs and your babies and get out of there, okay? Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Have a great day.